What we have today is the culmination of some of the finest pre-summer peak largemouth bass fishing I've experienced in a long time. When the water temp gets 76 degrees, when the day of the month on the calendar is exactly June 27, 2006, I found over the years that late June and this water temperature is the start of pre-summer peak largemouth bass fishing, and it runs through the 4th of July depending upon the weather. Now, I fish this lake a lot and I know when to come up here, and tonight these fish were gulping like a strand of spaghetti off a plate, a dead stick plastic worm. The plastic worm is my #1 presentation for pre-summer peak largemouth bass fishing. And to complement that presentation, I was anchored. So I had ultimate boat control. I used zoom worms in the 7.5 to 10 inch size range. And tonight, dead sticking off the bottom, they were sucking this worm down. I caught close to 30 bass out of an area 20 feet long by 10 feet wide. It was a main lake point that had big chunk rock on the apron of the flat up to the drop-off. The back of it was sandgrass. And then as you got shallower, it transitioned into cabbage and pondweed. The wind was out of the northeast tonight. We had a front blow through, shutting down the bass, but I had already caught close to 25 bass. And it was just one hit after another. And I've got in the live well 2 of the biggest largemouths that I caught tonight. And again, I said they were sucking this worm down like spaghetti. And this one, biggest one I have, is almost 21.5 inches. It was gut hooked, and I had to use the forceps to get the hook out. Be very careful on the bass. It's live, it's going to release well, and the other one is a little bit over 20 inches. I want to show you these largemouths. Again, pre-summer peak, 76 Fahrenheit water temp, late June. The bass are recovered from spawn. They're out on the break lines. You find the rock, you find the sandgrass, you find the pondweed on the flat, and the cabbage. All that combination. And with the right wind coming into it, these bass will school up in tremendous numbers. And I find that putting the anchor down and fishing this plastic worm to just result in catching bass after bass after bass after bass. Let me show you these fish. Look at the size of those largemouths. They don't get any bigger than this one right here. This was really a tough fighting largemouth. It really took me around the boat, down in the weeds, and everything else. Prime, pre-summer peak largemouth bass fishing. It don't get any better than this. Ow!